Hey, good morning, guys. It's time for an early edition of Benchwarmers yet again. I was planning on doing this yesterday, but I had to make a unexpected trip to Great Mall, which was at 6:45 in the AM, baby. So, and I was only planning on being there for like 2.5, 3 hours because I had to get like a bunch of stuff transferred back to the warehouse, and I didn't leave there until 5:30 PM, so long ass day yesterday, and especially with, like, the hour and 20-minute drive home. So, I felt it was too little too late to do bench warmers last night. So, hey, here we are this morning. So, anyway, Flashfire, good to see you. I know it's early on the Best Coast, same time frame as me. Just Shady G, what's going on, dude? Um, I probably should have made the announcement last night in regard to like doing the show. So I kind of expect, it's gonna be a decent amount of people in the crowd today. Probably not JM 1620. Man's probably got a job and a life. Kicks and ADC. What's going on, dude? And I'm actually surprised Steven Seavright's not here. He definitely liked the tweet that I sent out, but I got some big news to like end the show with. It's gonna be a little bit of tragedy and then happiness, and then probably some more tragedy. But anyway, Jersey scoop ups, singular actually, from this last week. Obviously had a huge haul for last week's show, and this time around, I got a bunch of stuff coming in, but unfortunately, this was the only thing that arrived yesterday, and thank God it came in because otherwise I'd have nothing to show off. But new Seattle Supersonics jersey, bam, the home white from the mid 90s era, of course. And this is not Patrick Ewing, this is Hersey Hawkins. So I've got the green one in my closet already. Found this white one for a remarkable price of $60, which is incredible considering the fact that every other Hersey Hawkins Sonics jersey in white that I've seen over the last 2, maybe 3 years has been anywhere from $120 up to $300. So, scooping this one up in almost damn near, I gotta unfold it again, damn near immaculate condition for 60 bucks, I ain't mad about it. I ain't mad about it at all. But I do have some other ones coming in the mail. Hopefully they're going to show up before next Monday because I do want to get back to the Monday format, Monday morning format. Raw fitteds, top of the morning to you, sir. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. See if anything comes in. So I kind of have a feeling that there might be like one jersey coming in, but there's another one coming in, especially from New York, that might be coming in probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. Just kind of depends on how US Postal handles that one. So, Rich GXD27, what is going on, dude? Flashfire says, I've never seen anything about Hersey Hawkins ever again. See, I was gonna say, we get in this argument in regard to what number he wore for the Hornets. Yeah, okay, I admit he did wear 33 for a couple games after Alonzo Mourning left. Um, Whatever. But he was mostly 32 and he wore number 3. But 33 essentially everywhere else. Sure. Well, except for the Blazers, but that's a whole different story altogether. Raw fitteds, what's going on? Top or I already said that. Top of the morning to you. Yeah, not too shabby at all. So I ain't complaining about it. But anyway, the other ones that are coming in, there's one that's like stupidly rare, got for pretty decent price, but S-Man, what up? For a decent price since 79. Good morning to you as well. It's in a bit of rough condition, but just based on its overall rarity, I had to scoop it up. So next week, I hope to show that one off to you guys. But anyway, let's get on with the show. And of course, I am starting this week's episode of Benchwarmers with an absolute national tragedy. And that, of course, is Ingrid Andress's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. For anybody who did watch the Home Run Derby yesterday, I did not because I was, stuck at the store, stuck at traffic, et cetera, et cetera. I did catch the highlights of this. And a lot of people were posting the old video of Carl Lewis singing the national anthem for the New Jersey Net Chicago Bulls game back from the 90s, which was additionally rough. But this one, hands down, is one of the worst renditions of all time. Up there with Roseanne Barr from the All Star game. What was that, back in 92? Because I think it was the one in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken. That was pretty rough. Um, but then again, her being chosen, I mean, you kind of knew what was coming with it. Whereas Ingrid Andress, and I got to keep looking her name because I don't know it off memory. Um, Ingrid Andress is a what, four-time Grammy nominee. So don't know what strings had to be pulled to even get those nominations. So because it was not good. But anyway, there was baseballs that were whacked. Of course, this was probably one of the funnier parts of the game where the All-Star Game official Twitter account went private because so many people were complaining about how terrible that national anthem was. Totally worth it. But anyway, baseballs were slugged. Former Toronto Blue Jay, former Seattle Mariner, current LA Dodger, Teoscar Hernandez took home the crown, taking down Bobby Witt Jr., to which case the name of participants in this home run derby, I would not have figured those two were going to end up in the final. But then again, it makes sense because the fact that I would say, from a longevity perspective of how much the home run derby has just been absolutely butchered, with all these different rule changes, more rule changes were made this year. Um, Maybe that's it. Maybe the dude who's not hulked out, is going to be the best candidate because Teoscar and Bobby Wood Jr. are both relatively skinny dudes. I know it would have been nice to see Bobby Wood Jr. win it. But Teoscar definitely was on a bit of a warpath and first LA Dodger to win the home run derby ever. So good on him. And if you would have asked me at any point in time in history, we'll say like 30 years from now, if I had to guess which LA Dodger won a home run derby, I probably would have said Matt Kemp. Definitely not Teoscar Hernandez. But either way, that's your guy. That's your winner. I didn't watch it, so like I said, I just caught the highlights and stuff like that. So I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on with this. Um, Best of AZ with the damn it, Bobby. Flashfire, I kind of agree with that. I feel like Pete Alonso has peaked in regard to home run derby. Probably shouldn't have done it last year. Well, I guess he did have to do it last year on account of reigning champion, everything like that. But yeah, had no need to do it this year. Um, Kobe, not Kobe 24 says the fact that the lack of shortstops to be in it, and this year there's two was cool. That's actually a very valid point. Because generally you're not getting the shortstop, you're not getting the second baseman, because those are generally positions that are not, following a lot of power in the swing. Unlike the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. But yeah, that's actually a very valid point there. Flashfire says, wasn't the story such that the only reason Alonso went to the All-Star game was that he wanted to participate in this again? Yeah, it was, but he shouldn't have. He's just kind of cooked at this point. So can't make a career off of just home run derbying. Can't be Jose Canseco, post MLB career. Put it that way. But the All-Star game is today. Um, I'm still debating if I want to watch it or not. I am just so jaded with everything that's going on in baseball where it's just like the one bastion of good thing that always, came my way every year was actually watching the All-Star game. But once again, we've reverted back to this whole, well, the A's only have one player going, and of course it's a pitcher. Um, Not to mention, John Fisher still hasn't sold the fucking team yet. But anyway, Corbin Burns, starting for the American League, 9-4 on the season, 2.43 ERA, 110 strikeouts. So not too shabby there. But on the other end of the bump, it's going to be Paul Skeens, the rookie phenom for the Pittsburgh Pirates, 6-0, 1.90 ERA, and 89 strikeouts. Having an absolutely phenomenal year. He had a no-hitter going through 7 innings, about week and a half ago, or actually this last week. And he got pulled because, that's the version of baseball that we do these days, where it's just like, nope, you're gonna have a pitching cutoff window, and that's it. And especially with him as a rookie, because they want to preserve his arms, etc. Um, but it would have been nice to see him go the distance on that one and at least give it a shot. So Flashfire says Rooker really should have been in there too. And I agree with that. And that's kind of why I brought it up. Kobe Not Kobe says Skeens deserved to start, but Chris Sale should have been the next guy up. I mean, he more than likely will be. Let's be real. I feel like the situation that Paul Skeens found himself in just because he's having such a great year, it's a smart move. But realistically, based on the way the All-Star games go, they're going to get through as many pitchers and as many players as they possibly can. Um, so whether you start it or not, probably not the end of the world, unless there's a bonus in your contract that punches in if you do make a start. But generally, it's just make the All-Star game, and you're pretty much just getting an extra incentive. So not too bad. Flash art. I figured Skeens might go through a little adjustment phase, but nope, he's been killing it from the start. Yeah, and it's good to see that kids can, go from college, winning a college World Series to jumping into the show um with an easy transition. I mean, we haven't really seen this since like what, the late 90s. So pretty incredible. And Kobe Not Kobe saying a rare MLB win, to be honest, with Skeen starting. I agree with that. Um, Hated that he won a College World Series with LSU, but whatever. Here's a look at things at the midway mark. So Orioles still on top, even though they're going 3-7 in their last 10, but so are the Yankees, terribly. The Red Sox are about the only team in the AL East that's on a bit of a tear right now. That needs to stop. That needs to stop. They're 4.5 back, 3.5 back behind the Yankees. I do not want to see the Red Sox finishing in the top at all. I got them finishing dead last in the AL East, so it's not looking great for me right now. Over in the Central, very little has changed. The Twins gained a game since the last time we chatted. Guardians still on top, followed by the Twins, 4.5 back. Then the Royals, Tigers, and White Sox, of course. Over in the American League West, Mariners still hanging on by a thread. 1 game lead on the Astros, followed by the Rangers, Angels, and A's. Just end the season right now, and it finishes exactly the way I mapped it out. Please, for the love of God, do not fuck this up, Seattle. Over the National League, Philly's just blowing everybody out of the water, unless you're the Oakland A's, because in which case they're going to put up 18 runs on your ass. Blew my mind when that happened. Braves are 8.5 behind there, followed by the Mets, Nationals, and Marlins, of course. Brewers still on top of the NL Central. Cardinals still hanging and banging there, but the Pirates are coming back. I like it. Pirates. Oh, God, I hit it a little too hard. Followed by the Reds, thankfully not in last place anymore, but the Cubs definitely are. And National League West, Diamondbacks on a bit of a tear right now, which is a little bit nice, even though it's 6-4, but the Dodgers are losing. So 7-game lead for the Dodgers over the Diamondbacks and the Padres, who are tied at the moment, just based on win percentage, and then the Giants and the Rockies. So somebody just asked a question there. Never mind. Kobe Not Kobe, best of AZ, and Flash Fire all talking to each other in the chat. So anyway, moving on into tennis. Barbora Krajokova, 8th different woman to win the Wimbledon tournament in the last 8 years. I did not watch Wimbledon this year, which is actually kind of a rare thing for me. I usually don't talk about tennis very often, but Wimbledon is always that one tournament where it's just like, you know what? It's summertime. I got to tap in. And especially in the 90s and early 2000s, because, just out of school, summer vacation, what is there to do early ass in the morning, TV wise, besides cartoons, of course, Wimbledon. So I got heavily invested in that. Um, got to watch Pete Sampras dominate for so many years, and especially with the rivalry, quote unquote rivalry between him and Andre Agassi was, quite a beautiful sight. So I still try to tap in every now and then with this. And so it's an interesting concept to have a different winner for 8 straight seasons or 8 straight tournaments, just because of the fact that, you look historically over the last, I'm going to say 25 years, maybe 30 years, and the consistency of, Steffi Graf dominating in the 90s, then Venus and Serena Williams dominating in the early 2000s. Serena continued to dominate into the, 2010s, etc. And then you had like the random winners like Maria Sharapova, Lindsay Davenport, who only just won just like sparingly one time, just kind of like on a fluke, just because they went on a hot run. Um, but now we're in an age of just women's tennis where it's just like everybody's dominant, anybody can win. And you can say the same thing about the men's just because the fact that, Carlos Alcaraz won for the men. It's his fourth Grand Slam title. And he's only 21 years old. Those other ones being Wimbledon last year, of course, took down Djokovic like he did this weekend. So back-to-back victories in a tournament championship over Djokovic. And then he won the 1922 U.S. Open, and then he won a French Open as well earlier this year. So not too shabby for a dude who's only 21 years old. But though, if you look at his photo, I mean, the man looks like he's like 34. Uh, genes different, outside the US and such. And so, uh, chat is, oh, never mind. I saw something about rough spots, but I thought I was talking about like my internet connection, which surprisingly has actually been Sam's. So PUMCV says, who'd you like to watch more, Agassi or Sampras? Dude, I was an Agassi guy. Um, just because Agassi had a bit more flair. And I mean, there's a reason why Nike built their tennis department around Andre Agassi. I mean, the dude just had it. But let's be honest, like as far as the slow burn of what tennis is and overall aggression on the court, I mean, Pete Sampras definitely kept it internally, much in the same way that Roger Federer did. I mean, you look on the outskirts or just the outside of both characters, they were boring as hell, but my god, they could do, the fundamentals of tennis perfectly. But yeah, Agassi had a bit more flair to him, and so I always enjoyed watching him a little bit more. Um, yeah, hopefully that answers that question. So anyway, this was actually like one of the big things that came out of Wimbledon, though. Pierce fucking Brosnan, aka Remington Steele, aka James Bond. The dude still got it. And if I could wear a suit half as good as this man could, I'd do it every day. My God. Um, had to give a shout out to Pierce on this one. So anyway, moving on to soccer, of course, that was going to be the highlight of this. And usually, you lead the show with the big news, but this one, no, we got to hang toward the end. The Copa final as well as the Euro Cup final both took place on Sunday. One was a bit more graceful than the other, at least from a fan perspective. I am, of course, am starting with Copa because this is Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, and this is what happens when there's a gate breach and a bunch of Argentinian and Colombian soccer fans go plowing through. Not to mention the fact that they were jamming themselves through air ducts and such to get in. This is so just sad. Um, but of course, the overall complaint that a lot of people are having is, oh, the US can't handle a World Cup or, a tournament of this caliber and blah, blah, blah. And that's untrue. I mean, this has to do with the event organizers that put this together because the fact that we've had Super Bowls in this stadium, we've had other major college sporting events in this stadium. And, these aren't issues that typically come up. So rare occurrence, sorry, that has more to do with the organizers that put this together. I forgot to write down their acronym. Um, but yeah, they suck at their job. Hold on, we got a question in here. Jess ADG says, did Hack Club stop doing Hack Club picks via email? I'll be dead honest. I had no idea. Um, I apparently not. I'll talk to the team today for if what the stats with that was, because I used to actually have to edit all of them. Like anytime there were certain matchups going on, I had to check the spelling. I had to make sure the right two teams were playing and stuff like that when they did the pick matchups. So I will double check for that for you, just Shady G, with my meeting at 10 o'clock. Sorry, I'm stumbling through this. I was off rhythm there for a second. Um, but yeah, best of AZ. Going through the ventilation system is wild. There were some great memes in regard to, because I'm a huge fan of the movie Die Hard. So there were a lot of Bruce Willis going through the ventilation wearing either, an Argentinian or a Colombian jersey and or hat. I thought that was pretty clever. But anyway, the actual soccer that was played was rough and hot and sweaty. And oh my God, somebody had to win, and it happened in regulation, thank God. This, of course, was the moment of the match that had nothing to do with an actual goal being scored. This, of course, is Lionel Messi totally jacking up his right ankle, because let's be honest, um, and I think it was the Uruguayan coach was the one that was like most despondent about this last week, where the pitch conditions in this entire tournament were fucking awful. And this is the problem when you try to jam pack so many people into a football stadium and not a soccer specific stadium, because there is a level of care that comes in with grass preparation that is different between football and, of course, soccer. And, a routine cross across the goal for Lionel Messi on the left side of the pitch, planted his right foot, kicked with his left, and his cleat stuck into the grass or the turf, whatever you want to call it. And this is the end result. So amazingly, though, because I mean, the moment that it happened was like with about 10 minutes left in the first half, plus stoppage time. And then Messi even came out during the second half and just completely got to a point where he jacked his ankle up even worse, had to hit the deck, had to get pulled out. And Dude Pal was crying on the sideline, which rightfully so. I mean, considering the fact that this might be his last international tournament that he's ever going to play in. Because I mean, he's up there in age. I mean, based on soccer years. I mean, he's only 36, 37 years old. But my God, that is terrible. I've had that happen to me. It was not pretty. And yeah, I mean, just the level of emotion that was on his face was pretty sad. It was pretty hard to watch. And just because the fact that Messi's always been kind of a good dude and especially a great ambassador for the game of football, but so America international football that is. But here we are, 111th or 112th minute technically, but the 1-1-1-1-1-1 mark is when Lautaro Martinez took a strike from just a little bit inside the penalty area and blasted the goal in for Argentina for the 1-0 eventual victory. Even though they still had about 8.5 minutes left of extra time left to play for that. But the level of play for this particular game, I mean, it's not to say that there was a bit of a rivalry between these two countries. I mean, there kind of was, just because of the fact that Colombia had not lost a game since the last time they lost to Argentina. And I had picked Colombia to win this tournament. I felt like they look really good, but there was a lot of questionable play on allowed by the referee in this final. Dude just getting roughed up left and right. And surprisingly, a fight didn't break out, although it kind of looked like dicey toward the end of the game where I thought there was one that was actually going to happen, but not the case. But Argentina wins Copa America. And it's kind of funny just to talk about this particular stat just because of the fact that they won Copa America this year. They won the most recent World Cup, and then they won the previous Copa America. Um, yeah, to go from this to what I'm about to talk about next and what it's like to be a champion. I have not been able to experience that yet. But Argentina has definitely done it multiple times over the last decade, which is relatively incredible and also depressing at the same time. So in regard to Lionel Messi, this might be his last major tournament. Angel Di Maria, it is definitely his last major tournament, or at least international tournament, because he is stepping down from the Argentinian team as well. As you can see, he is right there to the left of Lionel Messi. So good send out for the both of them. Seriously. But anyway, let's get on to the massacre that is my life. And the England Spain Euro Cup final, I gotta admit, was actually pretty good. Um, fuck. Let me get some water real quick. Hold on. So I ended up going to Kezar Pub in San Francisco with my wife and a couple of friends, and I didn't go for the semifinal game against the Netherlands because of the fact that I was in, Las Vegas for that game. But the previous match against Switzerland, we were there, friends, a couple of friends of mine and myself, and I mean, it was packed, but we got there early enough where it's like we got a table and everything like that. So game started at noon, and I mean, we rolled in at 9:30, and the place was already fucking packed. And which was mind blowing considering the fact that my buddy Steve, who went to Kezar for the game against Netherlands, um, he showed me a photo of him showing up at Kezar Pub, so same place. Of course, it was a Wednesday, and I mean there was nobody in the joint. So we kind of expected it's like, yeah, we'll get there early, but we don't have to get there like too early. So, Kezar Pub typically opens at about 9 o'clock. So it's like, yeah, 9:30, 9:20. Not a problem. We're gonna get in. No, we got in, but we had to stand the entire time. And thankfully, there was a group of people there that at least let us sit down to eat our breakfast. Um, and then I stood the rest of the time. So anyway, this shot is from the tail end of the first half because the fact that I mean it was just a war of attrition first half, back and forth, and Spain definitely was more on the dominant side of things. I mean, from the early going, just because of the fact that ball possession was much higher. I think they were running at about a 66%, whereas England was about a 34% possession. Spain was completing a hell of a lot more passes. But realistically, this was the best shot on goal that England had. Beautiful cross. I was dead certain that Phil Foden was gonna put one in the back of the net just because the fact that last game, the semifinal against Netherlands, he had 3 great shots that unfortunately just didn't go in, especially that one that it was just, like, barely kicked out and stopped on the line. Um, so I felt like he was kinda due, but yeah, I would say realistically, this was the best shot. It was a great cross too, but just, Spain's goalie just collapsed in at the right moment, and, it looked a lot easier of a play to make, once you see the replay of it, but whatever. So moving on into the second half, of course, Rodri being taken out was a bold choice by Spain. Um, we all kinda, like, saw this. I mean, this happened, like, right at the start of the second half. And I don't know. I mean, it's just the fact that it's one of the best players on the squad, then you just pull him. So there was definitely some strategy that Spain was putting together that maybe England would have benefited from. Because of the fact that, at the time, England didn't make any substitution changes. Um, it Harry Kane already had a yellow card at this moment, so you don't wanna risk him getting a second one. So, maybe it would have been the right time to pull Harry Kane, even though he is the leading goal scorer in England history in international tournaments, but I don't know. One thing I do know is having Lucas Shaw start for England from a defensive perspective was a smart idea. On the inverse of that, having Kyle Walker start for England defensively was probably one of the worst ideas ever, or at least having him start the second half. Because Trippier, who had been starting on the opposite side of the pitch from Walker, uh, didn't even see the field this match, which is crazy. Started every fucking game, and he didn't even get to touch the grass in the final. So here's the end result, of course. So Nico Williams, of course, getting things off and running. 47th minute, 2 minutes into the second half, and Spain is on the board. And the reason why I bring up Kyle Walker and Trippier and is that's Kyle Walker right there. That's Nico Williams taking a shot out from, we'll say about 20 yards or so, 23 yards. And yeah, that's Kyle Walker not being able to stop the ball. Jordan Pickford couldn't either as well. So I, got to give fair criticism to him on that. But when you're that close to the goal, and as a goalie, because I used to play goalie, it's a little bit harder to react that quickly, especially with the speed at which at that level is humming in. So I don't know, 1-0 Spain either way. was the end result there. So, but then again, on the inverse of things, England got a couple things together. This is a shot attempt by Jude Bellingham in the 64th minute from just outside the penalty area. It looked good from the perspective that we were looking at it, but it went just like about 6 yards wide of the goal. But either way, great footwork, great shot attempt there. Um, Spain had some other opportunities to score. Jordan Pickford, for what he was able to accomplish, and especially a lot of the saves that he made, because he really wasn't getting a lot of help from the England defense. Phenomenal game by him. Mainu, this was a very interesting substitution because we knew Cole Palmer was coming into the match at some point. I don't know if taking Mainu out was the right move, although technically you can say it was based on what happened next. But I still feel like Cole Palmer in more of an attack position as opposed to a midfield position probably would have been a little bit better. Best of AZ, I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Um, I mean, it was rough. They eventually did take Harry Kane out and put Ollie Watkins back onto the pitch. Ollie Watkins, of course, was the hero in the semifinal against the Netherlands. Going to talk about that at the tail end of this because we haven't had a chance to talk about what happened with me in Vegas. But anyway, so the Cole Palmer move was great. Here he comes in, fired up and ready to go. And what was that? Came in at the 70th minute. And here we are at the 73rd minute. And there's Cole Palmer, who fired it in, man. 118 kilometers an hour into the back of the net to tie everything up for England. We all knew it was going to happen, like just because of the fact that every minute that Cole Palmer got, and shout out to anybody who's a Chelsea fan in regard to that, because Steve and I definitely are. Cole Palmer just looked like he was just primed and ready to play in the not necessarily the Euro Cup, but definitely the World Cup. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing for the next tournament. And I mean, just the poise, the power, and especially for as like wiry as this little kid is, um, getting a great leg on it and knotting things up for England, immediately off the bench, was a huge shot in the arm. And we were celebrating, we were hugging each other. I lost my scarf for a bit, but I eventually found it. And all things tied up at the 73rd minute. So 15 minutes left to go. And here's another look at that angle on that shot. So just blast it bottom left corner. But here we go, 82nd minute. Brilliant save by Jordan Pickford. And then we go to the 87th minute. And this was the moment. This was the most crucial moment. And we talk about like the closeness of being called or being allowed from an offsides onside perspective. Hey, there he is, James 1620. What's going on? This is it. So, because here's the cross coming over. Yeah. Looking at it from this angle and this shot, it was definitely onsides, which blows. Uh Spain scores again. Not much Jordan Pickford could do with that, but once again, we're in a situation of Kyle Walker, what are you doing over here? It sucked, man. It sucked. There were a couple Spanish fans that were in the bar, and we were nice to them because we kind of had to be at this point. So, um, but yeah, there's just not a lot you can do with that. God, I wish Picker could have saved this one. Fuck. This would have been so nice. Anyway, England did have another opportunity in the final minute of regulation. Cole Palmer, once again, taking the corner kick for England from the left side of the pitch. And I mean, this was just heartbreak upon heartbreak of a play because I still cannot believe England could not put this in. But it also is just more of a testament to how great of a defensive unit Spain put on in the second half. Because Cross came in, and I mean, John Stones put a perfect head on it, to which case Spain's goalkeeper only deflected it. He didn't catch it because it was coming at a very high rate of speed. And this is one of those moments where, I've been watching so much England soccer, And the one person who I felt was missing from this squad, but he wasn't on the squad because of the fact that he was injured, was Harry Maguire. Because if it wasn't Harry Kane's giant goddamn head putting a header in the back of the net, it was definitely Harry Maguire. And John Stones put a hell of an effort into this one, to which case there was the deflection there. And then once again, another header. And this jabron, I'm going to show you a different angle on it. This jabron just happened to be on the line. And oh my God, it was just mind blowing that the ball did not go in. And I think it was Tony on uh, the second putback. But oh my God, we were just in disbelief, absolute disbelief. Um, just fuck, man. Like one time things have got to go England's way. But that was it. And that's it. I mean, they played 4 minutes of stoppage time, but I swear to God, it was only like realistically 1 minute. Like it went to the 94-minute mark on the clock, but Spain was playing such bullshit. Like that's the only complaint that I have against Spain was the time wasting that they were doing in stoppage time, which I guess is smart strategy. I'm not gonna lie, but it just fucking blows, man. It fucking blows. So yeah, 2 Euro Cup finals, consecutive tournaments, um, quarterfinal exit in this most recent World Cup. Before that was a semifinal exit in the World Cup. And yeah, I will admit though, losing in this fashion or watching England lose in this fashion was easier to swallow than the previous Euro Cup against Italy because one, I fucking hate losing to Italy. But two, the fact that that game ended in penalty kicks, which is such a bullshit way and just fucking gut wrenching way to lose anything. Um, it was good that it happened in regulation. Would have been nice if England tied up and at least went to extra time. Because in my mind, I felt like England was going to win 3-2, and obviously, if they would have gotten that header in to knot things up and then go to extra time, that would have been the prime time to do it. But not the case. And so here I am, morose and heartbroken once again. At some point, it's going to come home. But obviously, it was not this weekend. So, but the lady lionesses did win the Euro Cup a couple years ago against Germany, so we can still hold our head high on that one, I suppose. But breaking news from this morning, which I kind of expected, but at the same time, I was hoping it wasn't going to happen. Gareth Southgate, England's manager, stepped down. And so now England needs to find a new guy. And it's been surprising to watch a lot of the comments. Like I'll admit during the group stage, and I even talked about this on episode of Benchwarmers where it's just like Southgate was making some weird decisions with his roster management and especially his substitutions to the point where it's just like, maybe he's not the guy, but a lot of people were taking it to a very very extreme limit, wanting him gone. And it's like I didn't want him gone necessarily. I just wanted like a better idea as far as what the game plan was. And and then reading the comments in regard to him making the announcement to step down. Like it's split. Like I feel kind of bad just because the fact that I actually enjoyed him as the manager. I felt like overall he did actually an incredible job given the situation. But there were so many people that just like so against Gareth Southgate just continuing on and just like happy that he's gone. It's just like this makes no sense because realistically, you could say he's the third greatest manager in England history. Number one, of course, goes to Sir Alf Ramsey, who was the manager when England won the World Cup in 1966. Number two, from a statistical perspective, at least from a winning percentage, because Sir Alf Ramsey was a 61.1% winning percentage. Then you had Ron Greenwood at 60%, and then Gareth Southgate comes in at 59.8%. 61 wins, 24 draws, 17 losses, all between 2016 and 2024. Now, the crazier thing is between 1994, if I remember correctly, or it might be 94, because 90 was when England got screwed over by Argentina and Maradona in the hand of God moment, because that ball was punched in, so cost England a third place finish at least. So after 1990, so we go to 94. Um, 94 through Gareth Southgate's hiring in 2016. All the managers that England had, um, combined, if I remember correctly, combined for 6 wins in knockout stages, so beyond the group stage. And Gareth Southgate finished at, I think, what, 8 or 9, just because he got to the final twice in Euro Cup, and decent runs in the World Cup, etc. So I, I pushes his his level up a little bit higher, I gotta say. But man, this fucking blows. It's because it's like I don't know who they're gonna replace him with. And the fact that it's like there was a very short list of dudes, which included Graham Potter, that are looking to replace or looking as a replacement. It's just like I don't know how I feel about that. And I mean, one of two things is gonna happen. Either whoever England hires is gonna be the greatest fucking hire that that squad has ever had, and they're gonna win championships upon championships or whatever, or they're not. And I mean, when I say they're not, I just mean England's just gonna be god awful for the next couple of years. Yeah, they'll make tournaments and stuff, but I don't think they're gonna do it at the caliber or the capacity that Gareth Southgate did. So I feel like everybody who's just like straight up hating on Southgate right now and is happy to see them go. We'll see what happens in 2 years. World Cup 2026, North America, which I hope to God, hope to God, England ends up in the Santa Clara bracket. Don't have to get a hotel, don't have to get a plane, just have to get booze and get my ass down to Levi Stadium to watch them play. That's all I want. But more than likely, because the way the world works, England's probably going to be playing on the East Coast, probably in New York or something like that. So I will figure that shit out. But yeah, it's going to be a different squad. So we'll see what the next manager can put together. So anyway, um, this is why I wanted to save the Ollie Watkins story to the very end. So obviously went to Vegas, had to place a couple bets, but I flew in Tuesday night, and of course, the first legs or the first games for the semifinals for both Copa and Euro Cup were on Tuesday morning slash afternoon. So I had to call an audible and give my wife a call because she got in Monday night and she was a little intoxicated, but we got through it. She made the bet for me because couldn't do it on the app, unfortunately, just because that's the way things go. I'm not in Nevada. And so, yeah, over the phone, had to go one by one and explain this bet to my wife, but do it as a parlay because she's doing it at a kiosk because she can't be on the phone and place the bet with a person because technically what we're doing was illegal. Even though no wire transfer was made, she had the cash on her. I just told her what bet, what picks to make. So maybe there's some kind of legal leeway we're in right there. But anyway, first leg, of course, was Spain over France in the Euro Cup semifinal. To which case I forgot to watch that match, so only saw the end result and saw that Spain won. Didn't realize that they were down at any point in time in the game. That blew my mind. And then, of course, the second leg was Argentina over Canada. That was an easy pick just because the fact that Argentina and Canada played together in the group stage format, and Argentina won 2-0. And, of course, they won again 2-0. So that was an easy pick. But Spain over France, I felt like was the right move just because Kylian Mbappe was not 100%, especially with his face being broken and everything like that. But the speed game for Spain definitely won out. But then day two, so of course England had to win, and of course all these had to finish in 90 minutes, so in regulation time. And if you guys watch that England Netherlands game and realize like the perspective of like how close this was to me just completely not winning this bet at all, just because the game goes in extra time. That was the game. So Gareth Southgate's decision to put Ollie Watkins on for Harry Kane, toward the end of the match against the Netherlands. And this goes back to like why I don't understand why people hate Southgate, because yes, he makes some questionable decisions from time to time, but then a lot of the decisions he makes as far as substitutions, yes, although later in the game and you prefer it being earlier, he makes the subs at the right fucking time. Did it with Cole Palmer in the final. I mean, 3-4 minutes on the pitch and he's already scoring a goal. And the same thing happened with Ollie Watkins in the semifinal against Netherlands. So, Ollie Watkins, I love you, man. Seriously. Because you kept this bet in play, and then all that was left was the Colombia Uruguay match in the evening. To which case that was probably some of the most stressful soccer that I've ever watched, because the fact that Colombia scored, awesome, give them a 1-0 lead, but then in the 42nd minute, so we're into stoppage time, or sorry, 47th minute. No, it was the 42nd minute. So we're not in the stoppage time yet. We're right before stoppage time. Colombia gets a bogus red card. So now they're going to play with 10 dudes the rest of the game. Um, and that was it. That was the linchpin to finish this bet off, was 10 versus 11 against arguably one of the greatest teams in the in the world right now. I almost said country, but in the world right now. And Colombia pulled it off. It was so fucking stressful. I crushed so many cigarettes during that Colombia Uruguay game just because I needed this bet to hit. And we were at a table playing some other game, and I kept looking back at the TV because like no TV near us had the game on. And then eventually I ended up getting a hand because we were playing Let It Ride. If you guys haven't played Let It Ride, yeah, anyway. You get a pair of 10s or better, you automatically win. And I flopped a pair of 10s and I just set my cards down. I'm like, okay, I won. I need to go check this TV out, and just got up and walked away from the table while the hand was still in play. Didn't matter because I mean, obviously I won. Uh the game finally ended, and I'm like celebratory walking back. And it turns out my pair of 10s turned into a three of a kind. So I won even more money in that moment. It was nuts, dude. Hold on one sec. Somebody chiming in here. Let's see. Flashfire says, I understand this one having the odds. It did more now that includes not going to overtime or kicks. Exactly. Well, the worst part was I had a kicker boost on the app. So if I was able to use that, which I couldn't because this was done in person, the win would have actually paid at about $350. So that was like the bummer part about me not going in early, because I definitely would have made the same bet, used the kicker boost, and won even more money. Best of ACC says, is that game Uruguay pulled a malice in the palace? Yes, it is. Yes, it fucking is, man. No, 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 no. Sorry. That was the third place game against Canada. My bad. But anyway, thankfully pulled this off. I love my wife to death. Couldn't have done her without her. Even in her drunken state at the time, she was able to put the right pieces in the right place. So this was dope. Then of course I made an additional bet on top of which too, just because I had to at least get the two legs with England and Colombia on that last day. Threw another $10 on the line, one another $82. So a good what was that, 300 and something win? Yeah, 320, 322, whatever. Um, Obviously, usually I get the worst of the beats, so it's a miracle that I was able to pull this off. So awesome! Couldn't have done it without you, England and Colombia especially. Although I did bet on them in the finals, it did not work out so well for me. So anyway, here's my picks from last week. Of course, I had Argentina over Canada for my lock of the week. Dude, the Cubs swept the Orioles, which blew my fucking mind. So that did not hit. Spain definitely beat France, and my confidence in LAFC over Columbus. The final score in this match was 5-1 Columbus, and both teams got issued red cards. So I may never put any kind of a wager or prediction on LAFC ever again. That was terrible. So here's my predictions for this week. I've got the American League over the National League tonight for the All-Star game. Uh, Paul Skeens is going to pitch one inning. And he's probably gonna be it's probably gonna be like a no-hitter, or it's gonna be like an immaculate inning. Let's be real. Like, nobody on the American League is gonna get a piece of this. So we'll see what happens. But I still feel like the American League is gonna win. For my parlays, I've got Toronto FC over Inter Miami. That's going to be on Wednesday. Now that Inter Miami is going to be playing without Messi, more than likely the rest of the season after that dude's fucked up ankle. I feel like Toronto FC might have this one in the bag. Yes, I got Summer League on here, and that is Thursday because if I didn't tell you guys, which I don't think I did, after recap tomorrow, I am actually flying to Vegas. I'm going to do Summer League on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I always try to hit the second weekend. So I got to figure out what jerseys I'm bringing. But I will be at this game. So Magic, I've got over the Nets for Thursday, Summer League. And then, excuse me, Pirates over the Phillies on Saturday. Bit of a bold pick on my part. But hey, if the A's can take down the Phillies 18-3, the Pirates sure as hell can beat the Phillies. So that's it. Logan Herrera. Okay. You coming in now. I have your hat. Because I'm a man of my word. Although I still owe It's Not Luis a follow on Twitter. I feel bad about that. I tried to find his Twitter handle. I could not do it, or could not find it. So hopefully he brings it back up later. But Logan Herrera, I've got your hat. I'm mailing out today. I got stuck at the store in 6:45 a.m. to about 5:45. So I missed the cutoff window to make it to the post office. So it's going out today. Um, but Logan Herrera says the Cubs are back. No, it's fun to think so. They're still in last place, thank God. But Logan Herrera also says everybody's going to get an inning of work. The true question is, will there be a run in the first inning? I'm going with no, and I'm additionally going with no on that one. Best of AZ says he was talking about walking someone so he can face Judge. It's a bold move there by that man. Might like to see that. Flashfire says, Ben, there's a head on your wall. I should be getting in a few days. I think I know which one. No, actually, it's not up there. The hell? Which one? So say, because I got my Oakland ones, sitting actually like right here. But anyway, yeah, wrapped it up in plenty of time. I got my meeting starting in about 7 minutes. Oh, the Tigers crossover. It's a good call right there. I got my New York meeting starting here in about 7 minutes. So I think I wrapped this one up perfectly. The last bit of news that I saw, at least before I started this, is Kobe Bryant's father passed away. Or at least the news came out about 45 minutes before I started the show. Man, that family's been through some shit, and it's hard. So I know we talked about this, or I mentioned this before when we talked about personal losses and stuff like that, and celebrities, or at least people of note who have passed away. So give your loved ones an extra hug, an extra kiss, an extra "I love you," and do the best you can every single day. So love you guys. But as always, take it easy. And if you don't, take it sleazy. We are doing Flip the Script tonight because I got to get my redemption, hopefully, England versus Spain. And then if I got time, then I'm definitely going to do the Colombia-Argentina rematch. So Euro and Copa Finals tonight on Flip the Script. Austin, unfortunately, won't be joining us. A man's got like meetings like crazy. Plus, he's in Arizona this week. So more because he doesn't have his video game equipment to play is really the bigger thing. But yeah, it'll just be I'm sure he'll be in the chat somewhere. But yes, Logan, in about an hour and 30 minutes, I will have your box dropped off at the post office. So, and I'll be sure to text you the tracking number as well. So anyway, guys, love seeing you. See you tonight for Flip the Script. 4:30 p.m. Pacific, the usual time. And then recap tomorrow. And then I'm off to Vegas. So take care, guys. Talk to you later. Peace.